Hey there everybody, Mazrock here, and today is the Protection Paladin Mythic Plus Guide. This is a spec that I have had a lot of fun with in beta, and I was really excited to level up, and it feels really good. I'm really happy with where Protection Paladin is. It is just an all-around fun spec that can do so much. But does require you to work a little bit harder to get there. You have to pay a little bit more attention. You have to focus around certain things, keeping up certain buffs. But when you do, it feels really tanky and really strong. Before we do get into it, though, please do like, comment, and subscribe. We are at over 5,500. 6K is the goal for January 1st, and you guys are crushing it. Thank you very much for that. There is a Patreon link down below if you wish to support me directly with living documents on the tanks. Right now I'm focusing heavily on Warrior, Blood DK, and Paladin, but I am going to be getting the other ones up and going with time as well and more updated. The Vengeance one is up there as well, but I'm trying to keep everything up to date, but Dragonflight's launched, and I kind of want to play as well, right? Can't really blame a person for that. There are t-shirts for sale. You can get your Blood DK t-shirt, hoodie, or long sleeve. I'm the healer now. There's I only do dungeons fully erect, and of course the warrior I only want to rage. So you can get those there at the Teespring link down below. Twitch link down below if you wish to watch me stream, and of course there's a Discord link full of wonderful information. You want to ask questions, have fun, hang out with a wonderful group of people. Go down there and hang out. So as we get into talking about Paladin, we have to start talking, of course, about consumables, enchants, and all that fun stuff. I'm going to be covering this pretty briefly, but, I mean, it's still got to get covered, right? So, Howling Rune is the new haste rune that scribes can make, the inscription-based profession, and it just basically puts a haste buff on your weapon for 2 hours. And in Season 1, while we are just struggling to get back to the haste levels and the stat levels that we had before, this is going to be really good, and you're going to want to enchant your weapon with Sophic Devotion. Now there's two options for files, which are now replacing flasks that you can use. You can use Eye of the Storm, which will give you a strength proc based upon the enemy's hit around you that will last X amount of time until you leave combat. And then there is the Glacial Fury. This is purely offensive, but it does do a good amount of damage, especially with how much you're hitting. So use whichever flask, whichever file you feel is necessary for those. Up next, we gotta talk tier sets. Tier sets are making a return in Season 1 of Dragonflight, but they're not as impactful as Season 3 and 4 of Shadowlands for obvious reasons, because they were pretty crazy and pretty broken. But we are going to get tier sets for Protection Paladin that are going to affect some of the choices that we do make. So, Avenger Shield with the 2-piece grants you and your closest ally of light, increasing your versatility by 6% for 8 seconds. This is really good all around, and has a lot of nice synergies with Avenger Shield, which you're going to see in the talent choices that we're taking. Adds a lot to the button. 4-piece Hammer of the Righteous, or Blessed Hammer, whichever one you so choose, increases your parry by 5% for 10 seconds, and increases the duration of Ally of Light by 1 second. So you hit Avenger Shield, you hit Blessed Hammer, the 8% versatility buff becomes a 9% versatility buff, and goes on from there. So this is very easy to maintain with proper rotational play. Now, as we get into the talent build here, sorry, I'm getting that wonderful 7 FPS bug in Valdrakken. Every time I think I fixed it, it just comes back. So this is the talent portion that I have here for kind of beginning, and I'm going to talk about flex points as things go on and as you get more gear. This is the setup that I have been running and have been having a lot of fun with. Now, we're on the class side tree of things, we're going to be going Blessing of Freedom, Hammer of Wrath, Divine Steed, and Cavalier, just because my biggest gripe with Paladin right now is they're just so freaking slow. I hate the fact of how little pony lasts. 3 seconds is not enough. If I want anything for this spec at all, is make Pony last longer. Really, please, Blizzard, if anybody at Blizzard on Paladin watches this, please make Divine Steed longer in PvE. I don't care about PvP. In PvP, it can last 3 seconds. It can last a second. I don't care. In PvE, it needs to last longer because, in my opinion, right now, Paladin is the slowest tank in the game, and it's kind of terrible. They've got good burst movement, but when I can clear a dungeon faster on my Death Knight than I can clear on my Paladin, that's kind of a problem. And that's one thing I hate, especially because I'm used to the much longer Pony from Shadowlands. So having to have that claw back from like what 8-9 seconds, what it was, back down to 3 seconds, really, really sucks. I have not been a big fan of Preservation Evoker's Rescue, that ability. I love the entire spec. I love playing with them, they're great, but Rescue I'm not a fan with at all on my Warrior. It slows me down, but on my Paladin I'm basically begging to be rescued to go faster, and that really sucks. But whatever, we'll get into that later. Cleanse Toxins it's not useful in every dungeon, but it has been so useful in a lot of dungeons, and I know Brackenhide Hollow isn't in Season 1, but in Season 2 this is basically going to be a just all-around poison and disease dispel need. But very, very good there. Go with Greater Judgment, fantastic. Then we go along down this tree here, grab your kick, grab Seal of Reprisal for more Blessed Hammer damage, because, spoiler alert, I'm taking Blessed Hammer. I'll explain that on the spec tree. Grab your bop, grab your sack, Unbreakable Spirit. Now, the way that I've been working with these here, I've been going with Golden Path, After Image, and 1 point into Aspiration of Divinity. I'm not a fan of Dusk and Dawn at all. I don't like the playstyle, but I understand that the buff is really, really good. It is something that that if you're trying to min-max your play, you're going to want to take these 2 points out of Seal of Might here and put the second point into Aspiration of Divinity, and then the other point into of Dusk and Dawn. This is the more optimal build and playstyle for Protection Paladin. I just really hate of Dusk and Dawn, so I've been putting my 2 points into Seal of Might to give me 8% increased mastery during my wings, which is lasting around 25-30 seconds. And is a lot of fun because we're going to be going with Sanctified Wrath, so Judgment grants 2 holy power while you are within your wings, and Zealot. Hammer of Wrath and Judgment deal 10% increased damage, great, and extend the duration of Sentinel, which is my choice on the spec tree over there, by 0.5 seconds. With this playstyle here, while you are within your Sentinel, you want to be prioritizing Hammer of Wrath and Judgments as they come up and weaving in your Avenger's Shield. Avenger's Shield is a very high priority damage button as well, but as well as a good defensive, as we're going to get into it in the spec tree. But keeping wings and keeping Sentinel up as much as possible is going to increase, of course, your overall damage, but as well as your general tankiness, because with Sentinel here, call upon the light and you gain 15 stacks of Divine Resolve. Each stack of Divine Resolve gives you 2% max HP and 2% damage GR. So you have 30% max HP at the start and 30% damage reduction when you hit wings, as well as the regular bonuses that you get. You get the 20% increased damage. If you go Might, you get 20% increased critical strike chance for 25 seconds. You're losing that by going Sentinel, but the bonuses are just so good. Now, while active, but now this is a decaying stack, right? So after 10 seconds, you'll begin to lose 1 stack per second, but each 3 holy power spent will delay the loss of your next stack by 1 second. So the more holy power you can spend through Shield of the Righteous or Word of Glories, the longer that you can extend Sentinel and extend that decaying buff. So while you're within your wings, you're going to want to prioritize Judgments and Hammer of Wraths to really extend wings and get the extra holy power generation from Judgment, because it's going to generate 2 instead of 1, and you're going to have 2 charges, as you're going to see with the build below. But this, you are so incredibly tanky in your wings. It's so good. Love it to death. But let's go to the top of the spec tree here. Avenger Shield, Blessed Hammer. Now, the reason I go Blessed Hammer over Hammer of the Righteous, because there are drawbacks to both, but the main thing is Blessed Hammer has 3 charges, Hammer of the Righteous has 2 charges. So this makes it a lot easier to maintain your tier buff right off the bat. A lot easier to maintain. And it doesn't say that, you know, Blessed Hammer has to hit something. You just have to cast it. Hammer of Righteous, you need to hit something with it. You need to be within melee and hit something. Blessed Hammer, you can just hit Blessed Hammer whenever you want for Holy Power generation and keep those sorts of buffs going and rolling between packs and things like that. So all around insanely solid ability, and it just gives you more charges. The more charges that you have, the easier your rotation is to upkeep those buffs. I personally go with Redoubt. I don't like Inner Light at all. Although Inner Light is actually not a bad ability if you're having trouble keeping your Shield of the Righteous up, because it is a little bit more difficult to keep it up 100% of the time, although it is more than doable if you're playing aggressively and playing with the proper play within your wings and things like that. But Redoubt is just all around very, very strong. Shining Light, Grand Crusader, and Holy Shield. Obviously, grab your Ardent Defender. Consecration in Flame. This is going to ease your button rotation, especially during Sentinel. I know it's only 2 seconds, but every once you do not want to be spending as many globals as you could on anything but Hammer of Wrath, Judgments, and then of course Avenger's Shield and Blessed Hammers. So if you have to spend a global on Consecrate every 2 seconds less, it adds up. So this is actually a really, really good button to take. Barricade of Faith. This is one that is turning out to be actually incredibly powerful for trash and will end up being about a 3.5% from what I've been reading on Wowhead and Icy Veins and things like that in trash. So when you use Avenger's Shield, your block chances increase by 10% for 10 seconds. This is just all around very, very strong and really, really good. After that, I put 2 points in a Bulwark of Orders for a higher Absorb Shield. Put 2 points into Tears Enforcer. Tears Enforcer has made Divine Toll into a more fun nuke button. In Shadowlands, it was a great nuke button. Now, it is an amazing nuke button. But that also means that where you can, you do not want to pull with Divine Toll, because your Avenger's Shield is imbued with fire, causing it to deal holy damage to all enemies within 5 yards of each other. The closer and more stacked up things are, the more all of those Avenger's Shields from Divine Toll are going to bounce off of each other and just nuke things down. With wings, hitting Divine Toll in a nicely consecrated, like a nicely grouped up pack, I have bursted up to already 120, 130k in Mythic Zeros. Like, it is more than doable if you pull and time around it right. Now, this isn't always the case. Ruby Life Pool, for example, sometimes you have to pull with Divine Toll just to get things kicked and grouped. That does happen. After that, we're going to go, my personal opinion, Strength and Adversity. For each target hit by Avenger's Shield, you gain 2% parry for 5 seconds. This is a 10% parry buff, which stacks with the parry buff from the tier, which is going to give you more Grand Crusader procs. I know, don't leave it in the comments. It's Paladin. Paladin's not a parry spec. They have a shield. They don't like to parry. Yeah, but guess what? When you avoid a melee attack or use Blessed Hammer, you have a 15% chance to reset the remaining cooldown of Avenger's Shield. A blocked attack doesn't count as a missed attack, because it's still hitting your shield. You're just blocking it. Parry counts as a missed attack. So you get more Grand Crusader procs when you take this, but having an extra 16% parry baseline is actually very strong. But this allows us to go into Strength and Conviction while in your consecration, your Shield of the Righteous and Word of Glory have increased damage and healing to let us get our second charge of Judgment. This is very, very important. This is probably one of the buttons that's the most important here that kind of really makes the build. After that, go to Resolute Defender and grab your Goat, Guardian of Ancient Kings. Now here I have a point in Relentless Inquisitor, and this is one of those points that as I gain stats, I'm actually going to take it out. Spending Holy Power grants 1% haste per finisher for 12 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So this is this is a very easy buff to maintain, but we don't have stats right now. So as you're gearing, you're going to feel like the class is too slow. Adding any amount of haste that you can is going to be just an absolute godsend, and is the only reason I'm taking this button. After I am geared and I have the amount of haste that I like, I am going to be taking this point out. This is going to be a flex point for me, which is probably going to be going into either Inspiring Vanguard or Uther's Council, depending on the fight, or depending on, you know, my needs or what I need done. But most of the time it's to be going into Inspired Vanguard. But right now, as I just need as much haste as I can find, anywhere I can find it, this is a slam dunk point for me. After that, Soaring Shield for Mythic Plus, obvious pick. Avenger Shield jumps to 2 more targets. I personally put 1 point into Gift of the Golden Valkyr, so this reduces the cooldown of your Guardian of Ancient Kings, but more importantly, by putting the 1 point in, when you drop below 30% health, you become infused with Guardian of Ancient Kings for 4 seconds, and this can proc every 45 seconds. This is a 50% DR every 45 seconds if you drop below 30% health. This is incredibly powerful and absolutely worth the point. Put your point in the Eye of Tyr, and then grab Righteous Protector. Each holy power spent reduces the remaining cooldown of Wings and Guardian of Ancient Kings. This is now no longer bugged. Does work with Sentinel. It just doesn't say it, but this means that you can get your Sentinel down to a pretty low, like 1 minute, 1 minute 15, depending how aggressive you're playing. About 1 minute 15, 1 minute 20 is usually kind of where you're standing on that. Divine Toll. Now here, this is your choice. I prefer quick invocations. I like having my Divine Toll every 45 seconds. I'm not used to it being a longer cooldown yet, and I don't like that. But Divine Resonance is probably going to be the better play all around. You're just going to get more Avenger Shields out of the bunch, and you're going to get better kicks. It's just the more ethical play, but Quick Invocations is the more fun play, so that's the one I'm picking. Then, of course, put your point into Bulwark of Righteous Fury to have your Shield of the Righteous deal more damage. Now, this has been nerfed from 150 to 100% total, but it's still an absolute slam dunk of a point. Now, this one here is I know it's a little controversial, or whatever have you not, but Final Stand. During Divine Shield, all targets within are taunted for 15... within 15 yards are taunted. Don't put a point in here if you don't want to. I know sometimes it's bugged. I know sometimes it kills your DPS. I know. But guess what? It's still an 8-second immunity on what can be a 2-minute cooldown if you put your point into Uther's Council. Very, very strong. An 8-second immunity over 2 minutes that you don't lose threat on if it doesn't bug out. Insanely powerful. I have not had the Final Stand bug happen to me at all. Bubble has always taunted, and I've never lost threat in Dragonflight. This has happened to me a couple of times in Shadowlands, but not enough for... I've always been a big fan of this button, especially because it just allows me to live. But if there's a difficult pack as well that you just need to bring in, you can just Divine Seed charge in with Bubble, and everything's getting taunted for you. It's a great pulling mechanic if you don't trust the bug. Every 2 minutes, you can just run in and not worry about threat. You're hitting stuff, boom, done. Easy peasy. Because where the bug is on the initial bubble cast. There's like a 0.2, 0.3 second there that you can lose all of that threat, and as things are hitting, they just kind of look at your melee and be like, hi! Woo! But yeah, you can put this point wherever you want. Now, we do have to talk about Sanctuary. So if I take the point out of here and here, and we go into Consecrated Ground and Sanctuary. Now, this is actually going to be a very good option for you if you so choose. While in your con, it's a great... Your damage deals... your damage taken is reduced by an additional 5%. I really like this talent. The problem is I have to take either Improved Lay on Hands or Consecrated Ground to be able to take it. And I've never been a fan of Consecrated Ground because the main argument for Consecrated Ground is, well, yeah, they're 50% slowed while you're in your Consecrated Ground. Yeah, but that means that I'm also in my Consecrate. It doesn't help me that much that they're slowed that much when I'm also a wheelchair. And on top of that, it doesn't take that much for them to leave. So you have to like weirdly time a new consecration between you and them and Kite. And to me, it's just a clunky talent that doesn't serve a terrible amount of purpose, but I understand the need for it. So if this is a button that you want, go and grab it and grab your Sanctuary. Just a 5% DR is really, really powerful because you should always be within in your Consecrate. If you're tanking anything, there's a Consecration underneath your feet. So that leads to rotation, like, you know, and all that fun stuff. So when it comes to rotation, you obviously... Oh, I accidentally took that point out of there. Let's put that point there. Let's put that point there. And then we go from there. During your wings, you want to prioritize Judgment. And you want to prioritize Hammer of Wrath to extend your wings. And, of course, Avenger Shield. Avenger Shield is going to give you the... your block chance increase buff is going to deal a ton of damage with Tears Enforcers. Avenger Shield with Tears Enforcer is easily... combined 45 to 50% of my damage in keys, it is in Mythic Zeros, it is an absolute boatload of damage. So if you've ever heard this, and this one drives me nuts, we don't prioritize Avenger Shield at all anymore, man, because it doesn't generate holy power. Yeah, it still deals a buttload of damage, and you want to press the button. Not to mention, there is a billion things to kick in Shadowlands, and Paladin is insanely good at that, and Avenger Shield kicks stuff. So you want to press it as much as possible to kick as many things as you can, and it deals a buttload of damage, and it gives you a DR. It is a fantastic button to press. Press it. And of course, you want to hit... Blessed Hammer is more for holy power generation and buff upkeep than it is for damage. So that's kind of your priority. Always stay within your Consecrate and work from there. But one of the biggest problems with Protection Paladin right now, as I was noticing, is if you are starting a fresh pull, you have 0 holy power, what you should do is hit a Blessed Hammer off in Narnia as you're running in, like, you know, doesn't need to hit anything. Generate the holy power, hit your wings, hit Judgment, hit Avenger's Wrath, and as you're going in at ranged... And then that way you can hit an Avenger Shield as you're going in, and immediately have that 3 holy power and have your Shield of the Righteous up immediately. If you're not going to have a Shield of the Righteous immediately, start a pull with Ardent Defender up. Eye of Tyr is a fantastic defensive, but it requires you to hit everything. It is a debuff applied to mobs and not a buff applied to you. So you want to make sure that you're only hitting Eye of Tyr when you've got everything nice and grouped up, so you can get full max out of that DR. But that is really kind of it. That's your damage priority. Hit wings almost on cooldown. It will pair very nicely with 45 second Divine Toll. Go to town, have fun. Paladin is incredibly fun. Does a good amount of damage. Has a buttload of utility as well if you choose to go into Blessing of Spell Warding. There's some dungeons where that's going to be incredibly good. The healing is still a little low, but that was the goal of the buff. I know people are like, well, Word of Glory is not like what it used to. Yeah, that was the goal, but it still does pretty good. I feel like it doesn't heal others very well, but it heals me very well, and I'm okay with that. So Word of Glory cast on me feels great. Word of Glory cast on others, whatever. But you can choose to go Hand of the Protector if you so choose, but you have to put 2 points into Lights of the Titan, and right now, my opinion, you do not have 3 points to go into Hand of the Protector. I know it sucks, but that's the way the Paladin world is kind of working right now. But this is my build. This is what I've been having a lot of fun with. And like I said, if you want to play the most optimally, take the 2 points of Seal of Might and go of Dusk and Dawn. I will repeat that again. That is the most optimal way to go, is with the of Dusk and Dawn. You can even get rid of Zealot if you so choose and go with Seal of Order for extra offensiveness, but you are going to be losing out on Sentinel stacks a lot more quicker, and you're going to lose out on tankiness that way. So the more offensive ways to go for the of Dusk and Dawn, Seal of Order, general tankiness, general damage, stick with Zealots. So that is the Protection Paladin Guide for Mythic Plus for Season 1 of Dragonflight. Thank you so much for listening right up until the end. Thank you to my patrons for making videos like this happen. I hope you guys have yourselves a good day, and happy tanking!